Amad Diallo is expected to sign a new contract at Manchester United. What the players think about new incoming head coach Ruben Amorim. More links with Sané. Sean Dyche admits that they may be forced to sell players as we get linked with a January move for Branthwaite. Injury news to go through and a rundown of all the latest Manchester United news and transfer news that will keep you right up to date with everything. Welcome to Man United Review. My name's Jamie. Before we get into it, please smash a like on the video. And let's jump straight into it. So let's kick off with the Ruben Amorim story. So Manchester United players are excited about the imminent arrival of Ruben Amorim as new head coach. United squad members are impressed by Amorim's work at Sporting and now optimistic of having a successful season. Now, you know, if you take a step back and because I think there's two ways you can read this report. One is why the player, what of the players been down in tool. There'll be a lot of criticism around the players and their performances and stuff as well. But you've also got to remember, like I'm a United fan, and I'm going to assume you're United fans if you're watching this video as well, right? And the last kind of year or so in terms of performances on the pitch and the enjoyment at United has been completely void. Yes, we won the FA Cup. That was amazing. And I would never want to kind of dismiss that as an achievement, but the performances and do you know what I mean? Everything has just been absolutely shite for a while. And so the enjoyment and the excitement about United is kind of, you know, been sucked dry almost a little bit over the last probably year or so. You know, inconsistent performances, inconsistent results. Do you know what I mean? We've been losing so many games and dropping so many points, and there's been so much kind of negativity around the place that actually, you know, you can become a victim of your environment. So if we're feeling it as fans, you know, maybe the players were kind of feeling it behind the scenes as well. And it might not have just been, you know, one specific reason for it, just the fact that, you know, sometimes when you're on that negative spiral in life, it's hard to kind of come out from. So, you know, I'm excited about Ruben Amorim coming in. I'm quietly kind of reserved about it, though, because a lot of the things I've heard it all before in terms of, you know, this manager's going to come in and transform this and do this, that, and the other. And I'm too kind of experienced now to get overly excited around it, but I'm excited about seeing something different, something new, you know, potentially a different style of play, different ideas, a young set of coaches coming in as well with different ideas and different ways of potentially doing things as well. So I'm excited. So you can imagine the players would probably be feeling something similar as well, regardless of what you think about them. And you know, they obviously are to blame for the situation that we're in at the moment, probably more so than Ten Hag, in truth. But I kind of feel it as well. So, and again, I think there's two ways of looking at it. You can either say, well, you know, they've been down in tools and that side of things, or, you know, they are kind of, you know, they're only human as well. Do you know what I mean? They're probably kind of just as down as what we have been around the way things have gone at the moment. So I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing that they're a little bit excited about Ruben Amorim coming in, but let me know what you think about that in the comments. Now, in terms of Ruud van Nistelrooy's future, United players have also been impressed with Ruud van Nistelrooy during his stint as interim coach. A well-placed source described Van Nistelrooy's impact as excellent. It is unclear Ruben Amorim will keep Ruud on as he plans to bring his own backroom staff to Manchester United. And obviously Romano had something to say yesterday, didn't he, where he said it's a little bit unclear, it's looking likely that he might leave, which I think would be a shame. But, you know, you've got to back the manager ultimately. If he wants to bring in his own team and his own kind of, you know, backroom staff and stuff, then ultimately that's what you've got, that's the route you've got to go down, because we've been here too many times when, you know, we force coaches and backroom staff on a manager and then ultimately it doesn't work and it doesn't pay off. So it would be a shame, but obviously I'll bring you any updates when they develop, so make sure you subscribe to the channel for that. Now let's go through the man of the moment, Amad Diallo. There's an expectation that Amad will sign a new contract at Manchester United until 2027. That came from Simon Stone from the BBC, so a credible source, saying that there is an expectation that Amad will sign his new deal. Obviously, he is out of contract in the summer. We do have a +1 option. The reports were that United were quietly confident around Amad because they have that +1 protection. So if the contract talks didn't go as to plan, they could still at least trigger the +1 to give more time to negotiate. But I'm buzzing. I think he's a great young player who's got a really, really bright future, and definitely one we should be given a few more opportunities to, and definitely one that, I think we should be kind of tying down to another contract, in my opinion. But let me know what you think about that in the comments. And the player himself after the match last night said, "I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to play for this club. And yeah, I want to stay here for a long, long, long time to make history with this club." So Amad Diallo himself, or not confirming, but suggesting that he wants to stay at United as well. So fair play. Obviously, like I said, I'll bring you any updates when they develop, but there's an expectation he's going to sign a new deal, which I'm happy for. Smash a like on the video if you are as well. And this was an interesting from Statman Dave saying Amad has created more chances, 18, than any other Manchester United winger across all competitions this season, despite having played just 700 minutes, which I think shows the value of Amad as a team player and a squad player. As I've mentioned in multiple different videos, I know some of you I don't want to say disagree, but a little bit kind of reserved around Amad. For me, he keeps the ball. He creates chances for others. He's direct with his running, very intelligent player, hard worker. Like, I really, really rate him. I think he's a fantastic young player. He needs to develop this areas of his games that he does need to improve on for sure. But he is only young, and it is really his first kind of proper full season, and he's still not even playing that much as well. So, the only way he's going to get better is by playing him. And in my opinion, I think he is our best right winger. I think you lose a little bit of balance. If you've got Garnacho and Rashford are very similar players, they're more kind of, like running at players and direct players in that regards. And I think when it creates an imbalance when you're playing both of them, because they both want to do the same thing, whereas Amad gives you something different, in my opinion. But let me know what you think about that in the comments. Now, in terms of other wingers, obviously there was a story yesterday from Florian Plettenberg, again linking us with Leroy Sané, and Christian Falk has come out pretty much confirming the same story as well. Now, these are both very, very credible journalists, specifically when it comes to Bayern Munich and German kind of transfers. So Christian Falk had the following to say: Manchester United are interested in Leroy Sané and have already inquired about him. Arsenal also have him on their list. Sané will wait for the negotiations with Bayern Munich before making a decision. So again, it's another link with Sané potentially as a free transfer. And I didn't realize that he was in contract negotiations with Bayern. So I'm starting to kind of feel, is this more agent talk then, where they're trying to kind of, let it be known to Bayern that he has offers from other clubs, pushing United's name out there to kind of maybe force them to come up with a better offer or a new deal for him? Or it could be that the interest is genuine, because again, they are really credible sources. So it's not like it's, the Sun or somewhere where you would just dismiss it as BS. These are really credible sources when it comes to Bayern Munich. So that, and there's no smoke without fire. So potentially that there might be something in that. And again, I think it's one of two things: either the interest is genuine and we are looking at Sané, or it's kind of negotiation tactics and agents or the club or whoever it is leaking it to, Christian Falk and Florian Plettenberg to try and either get a better deal or generate interest in their client from other clubs. I mean, it's one of those two, I think, in my opinion. Let me know which one you think it is in the comments. And then another player that we've been linked with for a while, Jarrad Branthwaite. So Manchester United could reignite their interest in Jarrad Branthwaite in January, according to the Daily Mail. Again, this follows a line of a few other kind of sources and reports suggesting that United are not finished with Branthwaite. We're going to go back. We could potentially go back in for him. I think the Muppeteers were saying something similar as well. Whether we've got the funds available in January, though, again, remains to be seen. Nobody's really kind of confirming whether how much United have, or whether we do actually have funds available in January. But Sean Dyche had an interesting thing to say in his press conference when it asked about kind of player sales. He said, bids for players will not be anything to do with me, or you can imagine the financial situation here. We have already had to sell players here. I didn't want to. That's just part of the current business of the club. The current decision would be that it is likely if somebody offers enough money for a player, then they go. So Sean Dyche himself effectively saying that, look, if you pay the money, we might be forced to sell players because of their financial situation as well. So that could potentially be an opportunity now that United held their nerve in the summer and didn't overpay for Branthwaite. Would they become desperate maybe in January so we could get a better deal than what was on offer in January? Obviously, we know we've already agreed personal terms with him as well, so that shouldn't be a problem to kind of reoffer those terms as well. Who knows? He's definitely a player of interest for the club, but the interesting thing will be is he a player of interest to Amorim? Obviously, because the reports yesterday were that they want Amorim to assess the squad and kind of go through his transfer priorities. Would a centre half effectively be one of his transfer priorities for January? We'll have to wait and see. It's going to be interesting times ahead, though, and I'm here for it all day. Like I said earlier, it is, you know, I'm excited by it, so I don't want to sound like a Scrooge or anything. Genuinely excited about what could happen, and the changes, and I'm here for it as well. It's still slightly reserved though, because the proof is in the pudding. But yeah, it could be a totally different. We could go down a totally different route, as I mentioned before in previous videos. We might have players that we're thinking, oh well, we're selling, but Amorim might come in and say, well, actually, no, he fits my system better than this player. And then before you know it, our transfer priorities are different. But I do think if the opportunity arrives, I do think that the like Jason Wilcox, Dan Ashworth, they're obviously in control of recruitment. They like Jarrad Branthwaite, so there's clearly something in it. But let me know what you think about that in the comments. And then the next stories I've got for you are regarding the left back situation. So Luke Shaw is finally back in training. Yay. I did this the other day, a bit tongue in cheek with Mason Mount, how many games he'll play before he gets injured again. I'm kind of, let's just see how we go with Shaw. Let's just see how we kind of get on with that one. I don't want to sound like, victimizing players or any of that bullshit, right? But it's good that he's back. It's still annoying. The Shaw situation just absolutely still frustrates me. The fact that he hasn't played since February, so for 9 months, yet he could get himself fit to go to the Euros. It's just really annoying. And the annoying thing is, as good a player as he is, and he does improve the team when he plays, right? There's just always in the back of my mind, how long is he going to be back for? Because you just don't know with Shaw. Could be 2 games, could be 2 months, and then he could be gone out again for another 12 months. Like, there is no guarantee when Shaw comes back that he's going to stay fit for any sort of period of time. And it's always the worry with him. And that's why I do think that the kind of left back or maybe even left wing back position, the fact that we didn't get anybody in the summer, it's just shocking in my opinion. But let me know what you think about that in the comments. And then Ruben Amorim's staff will assess Luke Shaw from November 11th after returning back to training. So Fabrizio Romano, again, kind of similar to what we mentioned before, saying that they're going to assess Luke Shaw's situation, and then potentially, we may go for another left back. He might think that actually, no, I can keep him fit, and it's beyond the manager on that one. Obviously, we know as fans that that's not realistic, but it is what it is. But it is positive that he's back in training, because we do miss Shaw when he's not around. It's just frustrating, the whole situation around him. The fact that, he is so injury prone is really annoying. But let me know what you think about that in the comments. And Laurie Whitwell had the following to say. He said he's been told Amas isn't physically ready yet for the Premier League. So Laurie Whitwell, very credible source when it comes to Manchester United news, has said the reason Amas is not playing is because they don't think that he is physically ready yet. So it's more of a development, not necessarily an attribute thing, but more, and the Premier League is physically demanding. It's one of the most physical leagues in the world. So for anyone who wants Harry Amas to play, myself included, I was a bit gutted he didn't get any minutes last night, even as a cameo for a few minutes at the end of the game. I didn't see what the harm would have been for that one, especially after Amad scored the second and we were 2-0 up, but it is what it is. But yeah, not physically ready yet. So that, he might still be in and around the first team squad in training and stuff, but apparently, not ready. And then with Malacia, possible Malacia is back for Ipswich, but United are being very careful with his recovery. And the mad thing is, right, so Malacia is back in training, Luke Shaw's back in training now, Mount's back, Lenny Yoro's back as well. I think the only 2 players we've not got available at the moment is Maguire and Mainu. And I don't know whether they're going to be back for, after the international break for the Ipswich game as well. But isn't it mad that, Amorim could not just be coming in, obviously, starting on Monday, but also could have a fully fit squad, which would be the first time we would ever have every single player pretty much available for, not necessarily available for selection, but definitely in training, which would be, coincidental, crazy. It is what it is, though. There's not a lot you can kind of do about that. But yeah, Malacia possibly back, but Amas not ready for the first team. Now, in terms of other left backs, we have been linked quite a lot recently with Alphonso Davies. So Alphonso Davies wants a signing on fee of around £10 million. if he is to move to Manchester United. His wage demands are £240,000 a week. United are keen on Davis, but Real Madrid are still the front runners to sign him. So Dean Jones, again, another kind of journalist coming out linking us with Alphonso Davis. I do think the interest is definitely there. I've mentioned that before. Like, why would any club that needs a left back not be interested in Alphonso Davis as a free transfer? It's just the kind. It is just very, very widely reported by very credible people that he's already got a deal in place with Real Madrid. So, we'd either have to cough up a lot of money, I think, to get that done, or it is what it is. I mean, if he's already got that pre-agreement and already got the kind of contract and all that sorted, there's not a lot we can do. But we'd be stupid to not try to get him, in my opinion. And that doesn't seem like an excessive amount neither, as well. £240,000 a week. Way better than 350, and these ridiculous kind of, don't get me wrong, it's still a massive wage, but for a free transfer, and it's probably around the same as what like De Ligt, Mazraoui, like the new signings that we bought in this summer are getting around that amount from going off of memory off the previous report that had all the players' wages and that released on. So it's not the most ridiculous contract, still a lot, but you're not paying a transfer fee for him as well, which you do need to factor in. But let me know what you think about that in the comments, and let me know what you think about all the other topics discussed in today's rundown of all the latest news and transfer news, because as you all up to date with everything, let me know in the comments below what you think. I really enjoy reading your comments, and thanks for getting involved in the comment section as well for everyone that is. Don't forget to smash a like on the video on your way out, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and I will see you in the next one.